I'm completing the entirety of old school RuneScape from scratch. 200 mil all, Zuk helm, collection log, and a whole lot more. Last video I gained a bunch of log slots whilst maxing out the remainder of my combat stats. I gained a bunch of champion scrolls and other log slots, I got myself 99 ranged on attack, then started defense cast barraging at jellies where I collected a ton of Skatizo totems, ancient shards, and over 300 hard caskets from my bank tab. I then returned to the Tombs of Amascut where I scored multiple purples, combat achievements, and made some decent money. I also got 99 agility, farmed enough marks of grace to buy most sets of graceful, and also got a duplicate farming pet. I hit the milestone of 50 mil farming, and then got my first fishing pet at the account. My two big goals right now are 2,000 Tombs of Amascut kill count and to finish off maxing. And even though I did around 200 raids in that previous video, I'm more than likely going to be making even more money in this video just through getting 99 thieving and doing some farming on the side. I'm going to start off by selling the remaining loot tab from the previous video. You might be wondering where these random herbs appeared from, and they're not from herb runs that I've done already, but from the Nightmare Zone herb boxes, which you can collect daily if you have the points. I'm also going to be buying these throughout this video as well whilst I'm on the thieving grind. And as well as that, I'm going to be buying some herb seeds, and even though I'm over 50 million farming XP, I've not done a single herb run on this account yet, so it's probably time to do some. I'd highly recommend that you do the same if you'd like to earn some extra money on the side. There's a wiki page that shows the profit that you can make on a herb run, and it doesn't take much to get started. The seeds I've chose to start planting are toad flexes. The seeds are around 1k each right now, and each herb is around 3.5k, meaning on average I make about 300 to 350k GP per 5-minute herb run. Also, I'm going to be using up my Atta seeds from Hespori. I haven't used a single one of these yet, and I have loads of them. They essentially give you more herbs overall by saving the herbs' lives, kind of like the farming cape and the magic executor bonuses, and all of the bonuses stack together. It'll also give my ISR seed stack some time to rebuild too, as I've really only ever used those in the past. Now, I promise I will be getting onto the thieving section in a second, but as we're talking about first time farming, I think it's probably a good time to start planting my spirit saplings that I've been stacking up as well. I've had these since going for 99 Hunter through birdhouses only, and just a random tip, if you can't be bothered to plant these spirit saplings yourself, then you can just trade them in with Jane in the farming guild. She'll give you some high level seed packs which you can sell on the GE or use on your Iron Man. Anyway, let's get cracking with the thieving grind. To get to the method I want to do, I need to level up a little bit first, and so I decided to go to Pyramid Plunder. I bought myself the scepter so that I could get there quicker, as well as a Serp helm to stop the poison, and a regen bracelet to heal up a bit. I also made sure to use the scepter on the obelisk by TOA so that I can get there quicker in the future, as it unlocks a unique teleport. Pyramid Plunder is actually where I got 99 thieving previously on my old maxed inferno account, and I used to really like this minigame, and it's even better if you can do it on a world with other people or with your clan, because they can actually help you find the next door to go deeper into the pyramid faster. There's 8 different rooms, and you basically just want to find the last 2 rooms that you can do as quick as possible because you're on a timer. And the reason being is that the last 2 rooms you can do are going to scale best for your thieving level and give the most XP and chance of the scepter too. Jagex did change this minigame a while ago. In the past, every golden chest in the middle of the room and sarcophagus had a 1 in 1k chance for the Pharaoh's scepter. But because bots used to just swarm the first room and teleport out, they changed it so that it scales deeper into the pyramid. So the first chest in sarcophagus is now a 1 in 4.2k, and it gets more common as you go, leading up to a 1 in 650 chance. But yeah, I wanted to do this mini game until I got the scepter as a drop before going on to the main moneymaker, because it's a good place to level up quick, and the scepter is also a log slot and worth roughly 3 to 4 mil, which is still pretty good. I thought I'd end up being here for quite a while, but shortly after level 82 I managed to steal a scepter from a sarcophagus. As soon as I got it, I headed straight back to the Grand Exchange. I sold off the regen bracelet, the Serp helm, and the scepter that I bought previously. I'm going to be keeping all of the herbs and everything I steal in this video for a loot tab, which I'll show off at the end of the video. But yeah, since I'm at the Grand Exchange, I then bought a few hundred dodgy necklaces, 10k cosmic runes, and around 1,000 forgotten brews. Which leads me on to the main money making grand plan that I had for 99 Thieving, being blood shards from Vyres. These shards have gone up dramatically in price recently as I'm making this video, and with the rogue set you always get double loot, which means double blood shards too. This was the setup that I was using: a few dodgy necklaces which have a chance of stopping me getting stunned, some empty inventory slots so I don't have to keep dropping stuff immediately, a Draken's Battalion to get there, and a rune pouch for the cosmic runes, but also to store the death and the blood runes that also come from the Vyres. I also mainly use Forgotten Brews for healing, and these are probably the best thing to have in your inventory instead of food when it comes to thieving. They give a few prayer points per sip, but they also drain most of your combat stats, so they're mostly useless for regular combat, which is why they're quite cheap. And the reason they work well instead of food is because I can keep proccing the Redemption Prayer, which at 99 prayer heals me for a 24. So, with 4 doses, this heals me for 96 hit points total per inventory slot. Much better than the 11 hit points from a Hween, for example. So then that means I can also keep pickpocketing instead of constantly banking all of the time. The cosmic runes were also used for the Shadow Veil spell on the Arceus spellbook, which gives a 15% chance to not get stunned when pickpocketing, and it also stacks with the dodgy necklaces too. Shortly after hitting level 84 Thieving, I did get my first set of blood shards. I'd only been here for around 400k XP and I got them at like half the drop rate. At the time when I got these, it meant I got 27.5 mil GP in a single pickpocket, which was incredible. But it does even out to around 4 to 5 million GP an hour depending on the price of shards. And it also assumes that you hit the drop rate too. You'd think with a method that is so profitable, it wouldn't be great XP, but it's actually quite competitive with other faster methods. I was personally getting roughly 160 to 170k XP an hour, but that started to slowly rise with each level that I got because of the success rate going up too. It capped out at roughly 220k XP an hour, which was real nice. It's also worth mentioning as well that I have the RD hard diary done. The medium diary gives a 10% increase for pickpocketing, which helps out a lot. Some people seem to think that you need to have the cape on you at all times for this effect, but you don't, you just permanently have the boost. Shortly after hitting the 55 million farming XP milestone, I actually started to run out of Toadflex seeds as well, so I ended up buying even more. Which is a little bit weird because I used to hate doing herb runs when I was playing an old Iron Man I had, but I've sort of been enjoying them whilst doing this grind. It might be something that I keep doing in the future because I have so many of those Atta seeds to burn up, and they're good passive money. Another small farming tip that I have for anyone out there doing the herb runs: as soon as you click to harvest a herb and you see the XP drop, then do a spam click for a bit until you see your character kind of move to the side a little. When you see your character do that, you'll notice that you're actually picking the herbs twice as fast. And I'm not really one for tick manipulation, but that one's really easy to pull off. Back to the thieving grind now, and there is a reason this particular video is titled How I Would Get Rich from 99 Thieving. It was originally going to be called I Got Rich from 99 Thieving. You see, I ended up going extremely dry for these blood shards. I mean, sure, I got lucky at the start, but man, I ended up at one point going like 6 times the rate. Probably one of the worst dry streaks I've had on the account so far. But don't let that discourage you from doing this yourself. I run a thieving event for my clan, and there were some people who were getting like double the rate for the blood shards instead, and tripling the value of their entire bank. It's just pure luck at the end of the day. And I did end up getting a second set just after hitting level 98. Oh my god, finally! 300k away and I finally get some more. Oh my god, I actually looked in the inventory. I was like, what the hell are those? Because it's been so long. I actually forgot what they look like. Oh hell yeah, 340k to go. Hopefully I see some more. Come on, So yeah, I got quite unlucky with the blood shards, but again, please don't let my bad luck put you off from doing this yourself. It really is a good money maker at the moment. And I also didn't get any more from the remaining XP for 99 either. I was half considering just doing some post 99 XP to see if I would get that RNG to balance out and get some more shards, but I'm sure I'll get lucky in a different upcoming grind instead. But yeah, that's another skill down, and it's only 3 skills left until my second max cape. Construction, rune crafting, and Slayer are the skills that are left, all of which I'm going to dedicate an entire video to in the future. I'll be showing off the entire loot tab at the end of the video because I'm still working on some herb runs and claiming boxes from Nightmare Zone whilst mopping up some other small goals that I've got for this video. One of which is the new Wyrm agility course in Varlamore, as I'm about to start collecting all sets of Graceful for the upcoming 99 construction grind. I want to fill as many of the POH containers as possible, as it's one of the completionist goals that I've set for myself. The course here is quite AFK, as you don't need to click for every single individual obstacle, and the way this place works is as you go around the course you're automatically going to collect termites, which are used as a currency to buy everything in the shop here. You also get some bonus bone fragments here like you do with most things in Varlamore, which is an added bonus as well, and quite helpful for Iron Men I guess. Buying everything in the shop, you're gonna need 1,590 termites, which only took around 6 hours or so for me. And like I say, it's a really chill course, it's quite AFK, and it's probably one of my new favourites. And I've still got to try most other stuff in Varlamore. It all looks great, and you can tell that Jagex actually learned a lot from the mistakes from Zaya when that first released. Varlamore just seems way more fleshed out and polished, and I'm really tempted to choose it as my first region for the upcoming leagues, as it has a ton of content to get you started. Which, speaking of leagues, I'd like to say very quickly that I do plan to play it. I need to get the Dragon Trophy for the POH, as that's a completionist task, as well as going for all pets too, as they do carry over between leagues, and they are kind of a permanent unlock for the account. I won't be uploading daily or weekly videos on leagues, I'm just going to upload one big video at the end instead and then show all of the pets that I got. But I will be streaming as soon as info gets released to try and figure out my build and my route, and I'm also going to be streaming a lot during leagues. So if you want to see that, come and drop a follow over on Twitch. But enough about leagues, it was time to unlock everything from the reward shop. I spent some of the Marks of Grace on a fresh Graceful set and then took it over to the shop. You actually get 6 log slots for recoloring this Graceful as well, like the Sepulchre and the Brimhaven ones. There's also a teleport scroll, which is quite cheap at 40 termites, but one of the best things here is the new calcified acorn, and I do have the agility pet. It was actually one of my first pets on this account, and feeding it the acorn gives it a transmog option to turn it into a skeleton. Perfect timing, as I'm making this video, it's almost Halloween. And pairing it up with the skeleton costume and the skeleton monkey backpack I got not too long ago, it looks great. Speaking of agility log slots though, I did Greenlog Brimhaven in the past, but Jagex has since updated it to give it new bonus tickets for the shop. Kinda sucks that I greenlogged this before that change came in, but that's just how the game works. I'm not really one to complain about stuff like that, so I'm just going to take the free log slot being the new ticket that they added. The next thing I wanted to mop up was all of the new quests that came into the game, like Whilst Gothic Sleeps, which I'd been hearing good things about, but also some of the new quests for Varlamore as well. I started with ethically acquired antiquities, and it was such good timing for me to do this because there's a section where you have to shame the museum curator for stealing artifacts. There's some dialogue options here that were a bit ironic considering I just spent a couple of weeks stealing as much as possible myself from a bunch of vampires. It was a quick one to get out of the way though, and the next one was Death on the Isle. And also, not to get my hopes up, but Jagex has added a lot of dogs to Varlamore, and I'm praying that they one day release the Dogs of Gielinor quest that they've talked about in the past. There's a bunch of dog models created, including a Shiba, but most aren't in the game cache. It would be one of the few quests that I wouldn't end up spacebarring. And I did recently find out about the pet to NPC transmog plugin though, which is nice to have for sure. Anyway, as suspected by the title of the quest, it does send you on a detective case, and it's quite fast and easy to do. The XP rewards aren't too bad, but make sure that after you finish this quest, you go back to the costumer, as they give you a special needle. It's not a gigantic upgrade, but it does allow you to craft with an extra inventory space, as you don't have to use thread anymore. Next quest was Meet and Greet, where you basically help open a kebab shop and kill a couple of bosses. Not really much else to say about this one, it's quite a straightforward quick quest with some cooking XP as a reward. For the last Voldemort quest, I had to build all of the Quetzal transport spots, and I haven't even touched the Hunter Rumors yet, so I had to buy all of the feed on the Grand Exchange, which ended up costing me about 700k. But it's totally worth it. And a little bonus is that as I was running around building all of these and doing the quests, I got a bunch of music tracks too. I also spotted a trapped dragon impling at one point, which I managed to grab whilst building the spots. And after all of those were built, it was time for the last Voldemort quest, the Heart of Darkness. And it's probably one of the most interesting ones in my opinion. You get some really nice emissary robes from this, which make for some good fashionscape, and there's a couple of interesting boss fights. One of which is repeatable and has been sneakily added to the collection log, as it has a pet and a couple of other drops as well. Bad timing for me though, because I probably would have done this for some attack XP whilst maxing my combat stats in the last video. But yeah, the quest is a little long, but overall not too bad, and it's quite straightforward. After that, it was time for Whilst Gothic Sleeps. I am sure most people have done this one already, as it's been out for quite a while. I just like to put off quests until there's a bunch of them I can knock out in an afternoon, and when they've been added to Quest Helper. Overall, I really liked this one, and you technically get a free pet from this, being the Broev. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but you can drop it next to you like a pet, and store it in the pet thing in the POH, but it doesn't follow you around for some reason. One thing I've personally enjoyed about these recent quests is Jagex removing the need for a billion items and teleports. This one straight up gives you the items you need, including a Snapdragon Seed, and giving you one-time free teleports to all of the places you've gotta go, as well as being able to NPC contact most people you need to talk to at one point. The boss fights are really enjoyable as well. I will admit, I went into the final boss fight mostly blind, and I almost died to them the first time, but I did manage to get it on the second try. Just about. I did have to hide behind a pillar and let some NPCs chip them down a bit though. But yeah, there we go. I've reclaimed the quest cape once again. It does get slightly more difficult as time passes to obtain this, so if you're working on this goal yourself, I'd highly recommend that you do the quest cape emote next to the wise old man, because it's a diary task. The quest cape can be taken away from you when more quests come out, but not the task. Another very quick thing that I've not really been putting in my videos this year are the seasonal events. I recently did the new Halloween event that came out. It was really fast and easy to do with some great rewards, and I do wish Jagex would update Graceful so that it works similar to these event rewards, where you can change the color or the style if you have it unlocked, rather than buying like dozens of different sets. After the event, I went and grabbed a bunch more herb boxes from Nightmare Zone and had a look at the loot tab. I may have been completely screwed over by RNG for the blood shards, but I'm glad I did those herb runs as a backup plan, as the loot tab came out to a nice 123 mil. After selling almost everything and paying a bunch of GE taxes, I ended up with roughly 119 mil. Although I did keep the Pharaoh Scepter, as it's going to be quite handy when I'm doing my 2000 TOA grind, like I said earlier. If I actually went on rate for blood shards, then I would have had an extra roughly 80 mil. I did around 33,000 pickpockets and got 4 blood shards. And on rate it would have been 12 because of the rogue set doubling. But hopefully the RNG balances out in an upcoming grind instead, or maybe it's just payment for some of the luck I've already had on this account. Whilst we're at the bank, let's take a look at the Dopamine tab. Not a whole lot has changed here. I mean, you don't get any clues from Vyres, so the main things that went up were the mystery boxes from random events, and maybe a couple of caskets from the random implings that I caught next to herb patches that gave me some clues. I did also get the transmog for the squirrel, but one thing that I didn't really show in this video is that I finished my Castle Wars ticket stack. And I'm going to be finally spending all of those in the next video, where I'm going to be getting 99 construction for the maxing grind. I'll be filling in tons of slots inside the player owned house, including the golden armor stand, and completing a whole bunch of other content. So now I'd like to give a big thank you to the channel members, and we have some new people here too, and it's great to see all of the support that you guys are giving. So thank you to Henrik the Epic and Misks at the supporter tier, as well as Kay and Connor Malarkey at the benefactor tier. I'm going to be uploading a few more videos before Leagues, maybe another during it, and then locking in hard on YouTube in 2025. Speaking of which, that 99 construction video is next, where I'm going to be cashing in all of those Castle Wars tickets, as well as clearing a bunch of other completionist tasks. If it's not ready yet, then it's going to be the most recent 100-hour video that I've made.